Parce que Bayong faisant un message et à coller ça dans notre union solo et à coller baguette top qui n'a vu ça les lots et ça sinon on peut vraiment enlever pour motiver c'est tout ça comprendre the impact of young Congolese in the diaspora for the future of your country, DRC. So, tout ça, le bela, future, il y a young, la jeune, on a vu au Congo. Alors, tout le monde a intervenu là-dessus, il y a mis pour la vidéo, il y a Charles, attends, vous appelez qui seka, vous appelez la Tezo, vous appelez la Opite de Momo, vous appelez la Jérémy.
Bon, Pauline.
Vous appelez la Paulina. I have something to say. So, you know, I don't have 5 minutes to talk. And after that, but you know, so we find people so, after 3 minutes, so we can look at Koloba, na makambo tuzolo bilalelo, po na makambo kana biso Congo. So, toko banana Charlene, I don't know, 5 minutes tonight.
Hello everyone. Sorry, I don't speak Lingala very much, so I'm going to speak English. I'm going to keep it short and simple. I've got to go to a function that I'm hosting later on this evening for pretty much the same concept, but on knife crimes. In terms of tonight's subject, I wanted to highlight the importance of the youth in Congolese community and the lack thereof youth in Congolese community in any kind of position or role of influence or anything like that. We need to get our young people involved in a lot more apprenticeships, internships, mentorships. We have many experiences, but not enough of it being passed on. We have many people, I have done this, I have done that, I used to be part of this government, but all of that wealth knowledge is not being passed on to the young. Therefore, the young get lost. Congo is in a dire strait. It's pretty much rubbish right now. And the only people that can save Congo right now is ourselves. Rather than our individual goals, we need to kind of think about the land itself as a collective. Because the only way we can improve is by improving the land itself. And the way we can do that, the process that we can do that is working on our children from the 0 age all the way down to the last day on earth. Putting the same knowledge, the same hard work that we put into everything, like for example how everyone walked into here today looking all nice, that effort that you guys put into yourself, if you put it to another human being, knowledge, growth, the food, the process, they will grow up and they will take care of the land. While we're here, I quote that there's loads of young people that have arrived, but we could have done more. We could have done more, we could have got a lot more young people because this is about them. This is about empowering them, making them know that we want them to be involved. We want them to be part of something bigger because actually in a few years' time, all of us will be walking in some kind of Zimmer frame and walking stick. It will be them that actually leads the country. It will be them that actually takes over. So we want that process to continue. And one of the things that I'm
Paulina.
Well, hi everyone. I hope everyone's okay with English as well.
Yeah.
So I'm Barina and I work for Citizens UK, and part of my job is working with the Congolese support group to figure out what changes need to happen to make the Congolese community better, more active, and just happier. But alongside the Congolese support group, I work with several institutions, and a lot of them have been working around the issue of safety, which is part of what we're discussing today. And there's a couple of things that I've learned from what they've told me. and these are, I work particularly with women that either have boyfriends or brothers that are in gangs. So all these things that we see in the news about knife crime, about fights, about drugs, these girls are quite close to that, and what they see that has been a driver for their brothers and their boyfriends to get involved is kind of the lack of opportunity or the lack of hope that they can actually make a difference for Congo or for London or for whatever it is important to them. So it's why not get involved in the gang? There's not much expectation of me anyway. There's not many chances for me, so I might as well get involved in crime. Or at least that's the story that these young men are telling their families of why they get involved in crime. And I think from that we can learn a couple of things. We can obviously tell young people like, oh, don't get involved in gangs and don't do drugs and it's bad for you, and that's helpful, but also what other options are out there for our young people. And I think that's a much more exciting approach to it, instead of being prohibitive and scaring them, which they should be scared about some of the dangers that are out there. But what are the good things that they could be doing instead? So I think, like the woman before me was mentioning, access to apprenticeships, access to university, making sure that they do A-levels and that they go on into higher education if that's what they want to do. I think that could be a really good pathway and a much more attractive approach to youth. I think there's a constant narrative of young people are trouble, and in particular, young black males are trouble. And I think people can get quite tired of that, and that's just not what we need to hear at the moment. But instead, we need to hear about what can happen, what opportunities are out there, and seek for those opportunities ourselves. So from like immediate things, there's trainings and there's programs that people from the Congolese support group could access like that. And I think it's how we get that message to young people that we could talk about today. But also how do we start that conversation with young people? Because even though we do have some young people here, like the woman before.
We want to hear about you.
Hi, well, sorry, again, this is going to be in English. My Lingala is not the best, so, but yeah, I didn't really prepare a speech, but kind of got something that I kind of feel passionate about in regards to how I feel like the youth, Congolese youth can make a difference. It's short, I'll keep it short and simple, and yeah, but basically how I think the Congolese youth can make a difference is by, you know, showing a greater interest in what's going on back home. Now, to an extent, the reason why they may not show an interest, there could be several factors. You know, maybe when they have tried to get their knowledge through their parents, that knowledge hasn't been accessible to them simply just because maybe their parents don't want to pass on that knowledge, or because through different factors, or simply because their parents may not even know what it is that they're asking. So to an extent, that kind of hinders them kind of get some sort of understanding. So you kind of have to venture out and seek some knowledge for yourself, which is kind of what I did. And through that, I just started realizing that, you know, there's a lot of pressure on Congo through the natural mineral resources sector, which obviously causes a lot of conflict, war, and a lot of pain and suffering. And I think we need to get Congo to a place where our economy is not relying so heavily on the natural resources sector of things, but also trying to develop another economy or another backbone where, you know, we can kind of use that money to put it into like social services and health and education and training facilities, and, you know, maybe creating like a manufacturing basis, kind of like what China done, and what Botswana are doing now, and you know, things like that. But I feel like in order to get there, how the youth, because this is kind of all like for the future, right? But I feel like how the youth can get there is kind of like on the similar lines as what the other two ladies before me were saying, in terms of opportunities and finding apprenticeships, scholarships, or going to uni.
So, to continuer mes choses, stopper dans mon pied à la. Nous avons posé la question. Nous avons posé mon tour à Nyonso. On a posé à Pauline, Jérémy, Naba. Idée, Nama Kambango Balobi. Si nous avons là, nous avons welcome pour la question.
Beaucoup tuna hata na Lingala.
Yeah.
Comme ça. Pour interpréter
Bon, lui va y occuper.